How sustainable are you? Do you really like going to the grocery stores getting their fruit and vegetables, or would you like to pick your own fresh fruit and vegetables out of your backyard? This video is all about permaculture style food foresting and gardening, where I take you along my journey of building the foundation, the fencing, and the planting of self-love gardens. In today's society, it's a problem that we all face. We all face not being able to be self-sustainable with our food options. I saw this within my own family, so I decided to take action. This is the beginning of self-love gardens. I decided to start a permaculture design, self-sustainable landscaping approach where families can indulge in self-love just from their backyards. As you can see from this clip here, there are tons of hard red clay dirt on this property. You might can't tell from this clip, but this is the best pollinator space for this garden. When I tell you, during the summers and during the springs, I've watched this property flourish with butterflies, bees, hoverflies, and things in that nature. And if you didn't know, that is one of the most essential things for a permaculture food forest, the pollinators. So I made sure I took that into consideration. So having the insects, the bees, the butterflies, and all of the hoverflies inside of this garden is only going to make sure that the bushes, the herbs, the vegetables, and the fruits thrive for this family of 4. I've also decided to keep some of the native flowers that you're going to see in this next clip. The native flowers are going to help the pollinators just realize that this is the same garden in the same space that they were pollinating before. With them pollinating this space, they're going to realize that this is something that is not new to them. They're just going to be happy that I decided to plant other things for them to pollinate more and help their ecosystem thrive as a whole. That is all of what permaculture style designing food foresting is about. Helping your ecosystem thrive as a whole. The only way that you will thrive in a garden is if you think about the birds, the bees, the trees, and the butterflies and the insects and everything else, the animals, because this is not only your land but it is their land. It is oneness. We are one as a whole, and this is holistic food foresting. This is holistic gardening. After I marked up the space designated for the forest, I went on canva.com and decided to go ahead and start the design process. I started this foundation. Some things have changed as far as what I planted and where it actually went when it was planted. So in this space here, I wanted to actually put a berry bush in the corner, as well as leave all of the pollinator flowers, keep the avocado plant, and plant a moringa and citrus tree. Then I wanted to go over to that middle space and keep 6 garden beds available for just vegetables with lettuce, herbs, peppers, okra, and zucchini. However, I know that it's not season for majority of those, or that the compost took over majority of the beds. Well, just 2 beds, but yeah, that didn't work. And with the melons, the 2 bottom watermelons are actually planted where you see the cantaloupes, and the cantaloupes are actually planted where you see the melons. It wasn't intentional. I just flowed how it went, and I didn't follow the map at all. But the green onions are not lined up on the side as well. I am going to go ahead and get some more to do that. However, this is the first thing that you want to do when you're planting your garden. You want to make sure that you know what your soil is compacted of, especially if you're going to be using the soil when you're tilling. The first layer of this soil is sod, and then the next layer is pure greatness. Do you see that earthworm? I took the shovel and I dug it up just to make sure I know what the compost, what this soil was compacted with. This was full of nutrients. Then I got to work. I know that it was rocks taking up the soil and everything else, so I know that it had great drainage. I then planted tons of seedlings to make sure that the melons were going to be very abundant within this garden. And then I made sure that they were planted in cocoa coir as well as vermiculite, just to keep it natural and organic, and they thrived so well until they were time to be planted into the ground. When you're planting seedlings, you want to make sure that you water them almost every day and make sure that they have the best ingredients and best germination that they can grab while keeping their moisture. Do you see this seedling? Do you see this seedling? One thing I did notice is that with melons, I will not be planting them in a cup anymore. I will not be planting them in this brick anymore again either, my soil blocks. I will be planting them straight in the ground. They just grow so much stronger and healthier and greener. Like this is super light green, but when you plant them inside of the ground turns them to this dark leafy green that you almost want to eat straight out of the ground. It is so beautiful, so vibrant, and I learned my lesson with that. This garden was started right before its last frost date, so guess what? It was my job to make sure that this soil did not dry out and get hard as clay anymore, since I took up the sod and it was just the clay dirt that was left on the ground. That was okay. I got right to work and made sure that everything was still in its permaculture style design. I made sure that everything was still growing in abundance how it was. Here's a picture of mushrooms that I just wanted to include in the clip because I wanted to show y'all how fruitful the land was of everything in this microbiome. This is a tiller that I got from an estate sale for $5. I took out all of that plastic because I knew that wasn't going to help me. I then dug up some soil. This is me actually digging out the soil beds. The soil beds are the garden beds that was in the middle of the design that you saw. Then I actually took some homemade compost because I primarily eat only fruits and vegetables. Took that, layered it with soil, layered it with more compost, and watered it. Let it grow and start tilling the beds. This till was a runner, and yeah, it did a great job just because the soil was so hard and clayful. But I had my partner help me and he did an excellent job. Kudos to you, babe. So yeah, this was a not hard job, but you just had to make sure that it wasn't deep into the soil where you wouldn't be able to plant or mix the compost. And in this next clip, you're going to start to see the foundation. So this is where the blueberry bush was supposed to be. I didn't plant it there. However, this is the start of the garden. Not as of now, but this is how the foundation came about. This was for more pollinated flowers. This is where I planted cosmos and coneflower. It actually sprouted, and right now it looks so pretty and beautiful, and I've actually added more flowers around it to see how they will grow. This is the coneflower, I believe, that sprouted, and it sprouted so well. Right now it's so tall without any flower blooms, but I'm pretty sure they're soon to come. In the back here, I'm showing you the avocado tree. That has actually died off. I pruned it and it was no longer good. I actually planted a mango tree over here in this area right there, and it is doing great. I accidentally cut it with the weed cutter because I didn't know it actually grew up. But this right here are the 6 garden beds that I pulled up and tilled to be fruitful. Look how perfect those squares are. I'm just so proud of myself. Next are these 2 little side beds. I was going to plant the green onions in and just more flowers. However, honeydew took over those 2 beds. The honeydew is actually growing so perfectly in this bed right now. Both of these beds are showing when they were sprouted. However, when I tell you, they are so fruitful. This honeydew patch right here isn't doing too well right now. It's a little bit, but I did plant some more melons. These are the melon seedlings that were planted in these other holes. Yeah, I just can't wait to show y'all the update, because when I tell y'all, going back to look at this, it looks nothing like this right now. The fencing is up. Really just can't wait to show y'all how everything has turned out to be. I have found a new passion and joy of caring and gracing the land with fruit trees, gardening, and as well as just feeding families off self-sustainable permaculture landscaping. If you want to find more on this channel about this garden, be sure to follow Self Love Nutrition.